What's up guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to tell you that as I promised you about how to write introductions, because you guys asked from me how to write an introduction. If you're in undergrad, so if you're in a college and you're writing a thesis, this is probably helpful for you, because I already finished my master thesis like a few months ago, and it was a tedious job. Actually, I had to admit that it's like a really tedious job, and it's take long time of my master's degree, and I have to finish my research, and still it took long time to actually write the whole thesis. And I learned a lot during that time, and I'm going to apply that when I'm doing my PhD. And right now I'm working on PhD, so I think this is probably helpful for you, because these are the tips that I learned, and this is the tips that I use when I write the introduction. Actually, I actually spend most of my time to find a good literature that actually value for my thesis, because good literature review can actually build a good introduction. So I spent a lot of time during my grad school to actually write my introduction. So before going to more details, if you are interested in how to write an introduction in your thesis, just keep watching. So as I told you, introduction actually is one of the most important section of your thesis, because that's the portion that you actually introduce your research to the audience. That's mean whoever reading your thesis. So even if they don't have much even they don't have a clear idea about what you're trying to actually do in your research, once they went through your introduction, usually they should get an idea. That's the main point of introduction. But there are more than one important thing that actually covered in introduction, so we will go through them all. Introduction is like mostly it's like 10% of your research thesis is covered in introduction, but it's going to vary from one person to another, one research to another, but usually it's covered like 10%, like 10-15% of your whole thesis. So if you have a good research, that means you have to have a good background and support from the literature to actually convey that your research is really valid and it's really important to the science field. So that's what you actually do. So how you actually write that? So at the beginning, you have to start with a broad idea of your research, like explaining the broad picture of your research. For example, if you are working on cancer, so you have to explain what is cancer and what type of cancers are there, and eventually you have to specify your point, that what cancer you are actually talking about, and then you have to explain what part you actually interested in, because the cancer is a huge topic, and even one type of cancer, for example malignant or like breast cancer, is again a huge topic. And then you have to come more specific, what areas cancer you are talking about, what area that you are really interested in. For example, probably metabolism, or probably the cell cycle, like you need to specify. And then if you are really interested in one protein in cell cycle, then you need to explain why you have to actually specifically why you are interested in that protein, and what you're going to do about that, and what kind of literature support you have, and whether that about that specific protein related to the cancer or the cell cycle in the cancer cells, like that. So you are specific, and eventually at the end you need to tell what is the research gap. So for example, you're talking about one specific protein, we'll say P53 protein in cell cycle, and in breast cancer, and how that actually work, or how that actually works during that cycle, or if it is mutated and you are looking at that. So you have to be really specific and tell the audience why it's important. And most of your students will forget to tell that why it's really important to do research about that, why it's important to spend so much time and effort and working on that protein. So you have to explain that too. And then you have to actually go and tell them your hypothesis. For example, if you are thinking so the p53 protein is mutated, or if it is not working properly, I mean it's not like you have to explain and what you are thinking that will happen during that period, and what you're actually trying to observe in your hypothesis. But hypothesis again need to be really specific, and you need to explain what time period and what type of cells and what type of protein you are looking at, how you're going to look at that, and what kind of results you're expecting. All the things in 1 or 2 sentences, and that's going to be your hypothesis. So once somebody read your hypothesis, they should get a feeling about, okay, this is how or she or he is going to do his research or her research, and this probably will be their results. So probably it's not the same results you expected, but it's just fine. So you're going to put your hypothesis over there. So all these things will be in your introduction. So most importantly, you need to start your picture like story, the beginning like very broad, and it's eventually come to really specific, and really specific, and they will feel like they have a kind of idea what they are looking at and what they're going to read. So that's why it's really important. You need to have a good introduction. That's why you need to have a really strong introduction to your research. So I would like to say, if you have a good literature review about your specific topic, then it will be a good introduction, or like a strong base for your research. And it's okay to spend time on that, and you can actually start working on that the day you get your topic, because it's take longer than you expected, and it's a it's a nightmare if you actually wait for the last minute to do, because it's actually take long time, and you need to actually fill the gaps, and you need to tell them a story that they all can understand. Sometimes even you started early in your research, with the results you get, it's going to differ from what you actually start to work with. So it's fine, and you actually have to go through them again and change your introduction according to your results, and probably your hypothesis a little bit, but the big picture is going to be same. You know what I mean? So the big picture is always going to be same. So it's fine even you spend like months or probably years on your introduction, and possibly it's not a waste, because harder you read about your research topic, better you will know about that. And again, science is something like usually change day by day, so you will eventually know really different things, like new things in day by day, and you will really surprise at the end of your research, because it's completely different from what you really think when you started. I forgot to tell you is, in your introduction you need to actually define some specific word that really related to your research, and if there are any abbreviations you need to explain them, and if you have to explain some method, or like a specific word or techniques, that also go to the introduction. So I forgot to tell you, but you need to include all those tips, or all those techniques, abbreviations, keywords, and definition in the introduction. because that will eventually tell you a story that everybody can understand. I hope this may helpful for you, and end of the day it's your research and you can actually develop your own story. But you have to remember, is you're actually telling a story, somebody is not really familiar with your research area, but still they will get an idea about that. So once they will read the introduction, if they have a science background, they should get an idea what you're talking about. That's the main point of it, and understand your hypothesis. If it is a strong hypothesis, they will like to read your research, and it's a base if you want to publish a good research article. So you enjoy this video, and make sure to subscribe and like, and hope to see you in the next video.